Welcome to the King James Virgin, where each and every week my friends Alan and Adam tell me a Bible story from their childhood. I've never heard it before. I'm Nick.
I'm Alan.
And I'm Adam.
So, today,
Yes.
it's a theme episode.
Ooh, our first theme episode.
It's
I know.
a theme episode, and Alan, for the first time, does not have a Bible in front of him.
Well, I mean, it's within reach.
Well, as the good Lord's
As it
word
should be.
Yes. Yes. My sword is at my side.
It is in my pack
That's a
on the ground.
deep reference for later.
Ooh.
No, I'm going computer for this one because we're skipping around the New Testament a lot.
What are we doing?
We're doing the miracles of Jesus.
Oh, no parables.
No parables, just miracles.
All right.
That would be confusing to mix the two.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, just a warning.
We're going to.
Yeah.
A warning for listeners. Jesus spits in a lot of people's faces.
Really?
Just a warning.
Okay.
There's at least three.
This surprises both of us.
I mean,
There's at
I
least
think of
three
one
spittings.
spit episode, but I don't remember more than one.
I know the one you're thinking of.
Yeah.
There are two other spittings.
Okay.
And the one,
Are they all involving blindness?
the best part is, let's see. No.
So the spit is multi-magic. Like, it's not just
It's
ocular.
all face, though.
Oh.
Well, the one you remember is
Yeah.
not spitting directly
No,
in someone's
it's in
face.
the... Yeah.
Correct.
I for the listener at home, I was smacking my hand. I realized that was not this is not a visual medium.
No.
Sorry about that.
So, I like keeping track of things. This is also the first episode where we've had a trigger warning.
Trigger warning.
Oh,
Saliva.
oh God, that is yeah. Saliva might be on my list.
Well, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
First miracle.
So what
Lay
do
it
you,
on me.
What do you think, either of you, what do you think the first... Okay, so to set this episode up, I Googled list of miracles by Jesus.
Excellent.
And this was unanimously number one, the first miracle. Or we're going chronological, by the way.
I know. I know what in my mind what the first. But I mean, I assume Nick should actually try to answer
Hey,
that
Nick,
first.
what do you know about the miracles of Jesus? Have you heard of any?
I mean, I feel like I know that he cures people of things.
There's a lot of that.
Any diseases or things specifically that you would assume?
I'm going to guess leprosy's in here.
Yeah, a lot of leprosy. Although that's a lot of the side of the road stuff where we might be skipping.
Yeah, there's only one case of leprosy that I'm quizzing Adam on.
Okay.
I would have... The first one seems like it's got to be a big one. Maybe you lift something very heavy.
Well, see, here's the thing. I like that noise you did because that's the thing Adam's going to think is the first
Is it
one,
not?
and he's wrong.
It's not water to wine?
It's not.
Oh, what?
So the first miracle that Christ gets credit for is his virgin mother's conception.
Yeah, he had nothing to do with that.
Well, but he's part of the
I mean-
Godhead.
I mean, that's a stretch.
Well, and, okay, when you say that, you said that you just Googled what everybody likes the most.
No, this was a list of miracles attributed
Chronologically.
to Christ chronologically.
Okay.
I mean, that's I God fucked your mom and then popped out myself.
Oh, not only that.
That's
How did they phrase it? The Holy Spirit will come upon you.
you can't get pregnant that way.
So, Adam, what do you know about the conception of Christ?
I mean,
Tell me the story.
okay. Mary is betrothed to a man named Joseph. He is a carpenter in Nazareth, and Mary is visited by an angel and basically says, God has chosen you to be the mother of the Messiah. And
Do you remember the specific phrasing
yeah,
that the angel used? There are these certain phrases that
Yeah.
are just burned into my brain.
hold on, Mary, I bring you great tidings of great joy for
that's
today.
later.
Oh shit,
That's
no,
act-
then I don't.
Blessed are you among women.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So blessed is she among women.
Yep.
You get to explain to your fiance how you're suddenly pregnant and not by another man.
Yep. Mary says, "How can this be, since I do not know a man?"
Don't know a man.
Yeah.
Joseph Byrne.
Yeah.
But yeah, for some reason, it's even as a child, it was baffling to me that Joseph didn't seem to question that at all. It's like, oh yeah, sure, I'm sure God inseminated
So
you.
what's interesting is in the book of Nick.
Yeah.
There are 4 gospels.
Okay.
Adam,
Gospel means good news.
they are.
Oh, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
There you go. 4 disciples, each wrote a gospel. They
Well, not technically. What do you call them? Apostles. Most of them are written afterwards.
well, yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway, so they overlap a little bit. Like sometimes the one story will be in 3 out of the 4.
Okay.
I think there's only like
Nothing's
one.
in John. Nothing's in John because John's.
I
basically
referenced John
poetry.
like once.
Okay.
But they also have wrong. Like all of them have different numbers
Some of
for
them
different things. So like things that were like a number of people is associated with it. It'll be like 5,000, 3,000, 2,000. It won't actually line up.
We'll get to that.
Oh,
We'll get to that.
all right.
Right and wrong. But some of the apostles like throw in like extra fun details.
Sure.
And some are a little more boring. But in Luke, we have the angel visiting Mary. But then in Matthew, we have an angel visiting Joseph to explain.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I mean, so another thing to
Made more sense if they just had a better editor and made it all one book.
well, yeah. I mean, theoretically, the concept.
Or it was more gossipy. Like John
You know what I heard?
told you this, but actually,
Yeah, Luke's got the inside
That's the subtext.
scoop. I mean, in Bible class, and in I think it was more at the collegiate level, we were learning that the Gospels were all written to specific audiences. For instance, Matthew's was supposed to be written to Jews. Luke was supposed to be written to Gentiles, and so like they theoretically the idea between the discrepancies is that they were playing to their audience. Like that was the justification for the differences, and for the details that were included or left in. And it kind of makes sense just patriarchally wise that Matthew would include Joseph and Luke didn't give a shit.
Yeah. And I've got a couple more examples of the different audiences, but
That's interesting. Oh, so Joseph is fine with Mary, and she gives birth to Jesus in a stable.
Well,
But we'll get to that.
yeah,
at
we
some
don't
point.
cover the giving birth.
and he gets credit for it, apparently.
God does. Joseph does not.
No, Jesus does.
Oh yeah,
It's his
Jesus,
miracle.
Jesus self inseminated,
He inseminated his mother.
created himself.
He knocked up his own mom.
Yeah, before like it's a like a time loop thing.
Yeah.
It is very confusing.
I'm
Angel, tell my mother I'm coming.
in all sense of the word. I'm still not. I'm going to say that water to wine is the first miracle. I'm just declaring that as
Book of Adam.
Book of Adam.
So Jesus' adult first miracle is
is changing the water to wine.
The college years.
The kind of
the party Jesus.
It is technically before he's like quote unquote started his ministry. He's with his mom at a wedding, like you do.
Yeah.
And the wedding, apparently weddings in Jewish culture at this time were like weeks long, or at least days long. And you would always start with the good wine because by the time you got to the end of the day or end of the week, people were trashed and didn't care, so you'd roll out the crap at that point. But they're fairly deep into this wedding, and the owner is just kind of like stressing out because not only are they out of the good wine, they're running out of the cheap wine, and they're about to just be out of wine, and you don't do that at a wedding. And Mary turns to her son and goes like, "You're special. You do something about it." And he's basically, I feel like it's the like most disrespectful language. He's like, it feels like he was like, "Woman, don't you know my time hasn't come yet?"
Man, nailing it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Woman, what does your concern have to do with me? My hour has not yet come. But the weird thing is like his mom turns to him and is be like,
Yeah.
Jesus, do something about this.
I think
You're
it's just
magic.
I think it's just a mom thing. Like, oh, my son could take care of it.
He's special.
He's special.
He can solve this.
Well, maybe this is something that she's seen him do before, and it's just not been
He's
chronicled
done
to this
no
point.
miracles besides knocking her up.
I'm with
What if-
Nick.
what
At
if nobody
home,
was around?
like all they do is buy bottled water, and he's like popping out French Chardonnay all
He's
the
like
time.
levitating things at home. and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a by the way, gospel wise, there is a gap between 12 years old and 30 years old
30. Yeah.
where we don't hear anything about what he's been doing. That's a pretty big gap of time.
Yeah.
And
Some would say like the glory days.
yeah.
So Jesus says no.
Oh, yeah. Basically says no. And I don't,
And then his mom says
please.
to the servants, whatever he says to you, do it.
So
She's very presumptuous.
So he basically goes like, go fill all the clay jars you can find, anything you can find, fill it with water, bring it back to me. 6? Oh, well, 6. And then he like, humana, poof. I assume abracadabra maybe. And suddenly it like all turns to wine and people start drinking like, oh my God, why have you been saving this? This is the best wine ever. Not only is Jesus a winemaker, he's an excellent winemaker.
He's got great taste.
Aficionado.
And that's the first.
We talking a red? We talking a white?
I would assume red because, yeah, I'm gonna assume red.
Yeah, it's a skin-on fermentation.
Yes. They're not gonna. White doesn't. I don't think show up for.
They don't skin all the grapes
longer.
before they ferment.
Not at all.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and blood of.
Exactly. Yeah, blood. Wine being referenced to blood is a white wine does not really make any sense in that context. But yeah, it's the first. That's to me is the first.
Agreed, and that's kind of what we were told was the first miracle.
To me, it's the first.
To me,
and
it's the
only.
first.
So the next miracle takes place in the same town. He's left, presumably.
This
and
isn't
comes
Nazareth.
back.
This is a different town.
No, this is Cana of Galilee.
Oh, okay. That's right. Because he's from theoretically he wasn't even born in Nazareth. No, he was born in
Born
Nazareth.
in Bethlehem.
Good Jesus Christ! Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So he's back in Galilee, and this next one.
And Galilee's a region, right? Not a town. Like Galilee is like.
So I'm just gonna say a lot of these are like a little light on story.
Yeah.
And I'm literally like I have the entire verses about them.
Right.
They're just not great stories within themselves. They're no water into wine.
Water to wine's it's a good story.
So I'm just gonna actually tell a few of them,
Okay.
and then I'll make Adam tell the ones that I think are more interesting.
Deal.
So the next one, a nobleman comes to him and says, "Can you heal my son? He's about to die. You can jump in whenever." And Jesus says,
I feel like this is a setup for a bunch of them.
exactly. Jesus says, like, you people won't believe in me until you see my signs and wonders. And the nobleman's like, no. I believe. And Jesus is like, aha, your son lives. And the nobleman just like leaves. And then apparently the exact hour and minute that the son,
Right. Like somebody like tracked when the sun suddenly got better.
with his like wristwatch sundial.
Yes. It's like, man, it's like exactly 3:23 p.m. and that was when
Because I assume he had to walk home like 2 days.
Right.
So yeah, like I said, a lot of these aren't like real complete stories.
Yeah.
It is it feels very hearsay-y too. Like that's one of those details that they like there's no way that they could have known what time it actually was, but then like it was the exact time.
It's the fun part too. Like, so, okay. Presumably the guy who wrote this, John, was with Jesus.
Right.
The nobleman's with Jesus.
Yeah.
They know that time. The nobleman goes home. Does someone like
A runner comes
run
back.
and be like, it was the same hour?
Yeah.
And John's like, I got to get this down.
Who was the guy that did the marathon?
The guy that did the marathon.
Yeah, the marathon is based on that he ran
I'm
the
sure he had a
marathon
name.
and died.
Some Greek fella.
No, I should have. We're gonna get yelled at for this, but yeah, it's him. He just
Anyway,
back.
so that's that one.
Cool.
It's great. Next, we have Jesus cast out an unclean spirit.
This is not.
There's a lot of Jesus doing things in synagogues on the Sabbath and then getting yelled at by Pharisees for working on the Sabbath.
That sounds about right.
So that's what happens.
Okay. Unclean spirit. I mean, I'm assuming it was a demon.
This is my favorite one because it's just one verse.
Okay.
Where Jesus comes into Peter's house. He saw his wife's mother lying sick with a fever, so he touched her hand and the fever left her, and she arose and served them.
Like dinner?
Yeah, she's like, well, who's going to make us dinner? I better heal her.
Given our track record with Zacchaeus too, like maybe Jesus is just super demanding when it comes to like make me a dinner.
Yeah.
Okay, Adam, this next one though.
Okay.
This one's for you. It's the we've been fishing all night. Nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
that
So
one?
I mean, this is the fishing, fishing story.
Yeah.
I don't remember why, but the apostles are separate from Jesus right now. Probably just doing their day job.
He's recruiting, actually.
Really?
Four
This is where he
joined
gets
because of
Peter?
this. Yeah.
Oh, I totally didn't space. Okay. Anyway, Jesus is recruiting his apostles and going around the countryside, and Peter and Andrew.
Nope.
Which is his brother? Peter. James.
So it's Simon's boat.
Simon's boat, which is also Peter. Peter goes, like, Peter's name was Simon, but he went by Peter because
And then Simon Peter.
same person.
No.
What?
Maybe.
No, it's the same person.
Well, then there's 4. I'm confused.
It doesn't really matter. There's apostles.
James and John are the brothers.
James and John are the brothers. Okay. So Peter is fishing.
There's
and
4 guys in a boat.
Four guys in a boat, fishing all night, have not caught a single fish. And are, that's their livelihood since they're fishermen.
Yeah.
And a dude on the beach goes, "You guys should cast your nets on the other side of the boat." So they do. And it's like the largest haul they've ever got. All of the fish in the lake are
simply putting it on the other side of the boat.
Because Jesus told them to.
Right. So I believe, if I remember right, Peter at this point is overcome after they pulled all the fish in. And he just dives off the boat and Forrest Gumps it into the water and swims back to shore. And Jesus says something pithy like, "I'm going to make you, instead of fishers of fish, fishers of men."
Nailed it. Yeah, Peter says, "Depart from me, for I am a sinful man, O Lord."
Oh. And Jesus doesn't. That's kind of a theme, though. Like, Peter's constantly
"Do not be afraid, for from now on you will catch men."
with nets.
With nets.
Thus begins the kidnappy portion of the Bible.
Yeah.
It's all... See, the thing is, all these little stories, that was a tiny little story. But
yes,
these were built up to huge importance.
Well, and that would have been a unprepared person's children's story.
Sure.
So a chunk of the regular service at church would be the children's story, which was a moment in the middle of the church that was supposed to be less boring than the kind of surrounding bits.
Yeah.
And at least in our church, we would go, kids would go up and down the aisles, grabbing dollar bills that people would be holding out. And that would be going into a church building fund or some sort of missionary fund or something like that.
Yeah.
And we'd come and typically shove your bills into a scale model of a church.
A tiny church.
A tiny church.
Yep, same.
It's weird that these things are ubiquitous. And then some parent would then get up and tell, and depending on the parent, tell a good story or a shitty story.
Where all the kids were sitting on stage.
Where all the kids are sitting on stage.
Wow.
Well, they would tell you a bad story. And there's usually a song, that there's always a intro song and outro song that they would always play. And
wow.
So that's on the weeks when there was some unprepared parent, they would do exactly what I did about the Fishers of Men one.
Just kind of half-ass
it.
A story. Try to make a moral point.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, does it always have to be a Bible story? Or
Yes.
is it just
a
story with a moral?
It could be a missionary story, but it's going to be religious in nature.
Yeah. So this next one, there was 6 of these. So there's just one where there's someone with leprosy on the side of the road.
There we go.
And being like, "Please heal me." And then Jesus touches them to heal them. Big deal. Because that's how you catch leprosy.
Right.
Except it's not, but,
Anyway. But that's the whole story.
And there's many of those.
There's many of those.
Always lepers?
Yeah. Specifically because people wouldn't touch lepers.
Yeah.
Well,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's the Mother Teresa thing, where you get in there and touch them, give them hugs, which is kind of ironic given that leprosy destroys the nervous systems and you can't feel things. So I get that it's I get the point of touching them, but they also theoretically couldn't feel you. So
never thought about that. So maybe Jesus didn't touch them. He like Keanu Reeves hugging fans.
Yeah, just
where he just kind of hovers his hands, and people are like, "Oh, guys, he touched him." He's like, "Yes, I did."
Yeah, I did.
They felt it.
That I feel like that somehow besmirches Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. All right, this next one has to do with putting a hole in a roof.
Oh, this sounds familiar. Hold on.
Lowering.
Oh.
Yeah?
Yeah, this is a good story. Okay, so Jesus is I don't know where in somebody's house. Capernaum. He's in Capernaum, like you do.
Yep.
And he's at a house show, and the house show is packed to the gills.
Yeah, he's gotten famous. By this point.
People are on the deck. People are on the front porch. They're 3 or 4 deep around the house. Cannot get to him. There is a guy who I don't remember exactly if he's paralyzed from birth or something.
Yeah.
He's a notorious.
I
paralytic?
I don't know about notorious.
Notorious.
He is paralyzed.
I feel like it says, like, it mentions earlier that, like, people know him.
It just says paralyzed from birth.
Oh, anyways, paralyzed from birth. Yeah. And he clearly can't get through the crowd being paralyzed. And so his friends are, like, carrying him there. And there's no way to get close to Jesus, who is presumably, like, doing pithy statements.
Yeah.
He's being Jesus.
Being Jesus-y. Mm-hmm. And friends go, like, and so the paralyzed guy's like, it's not going to happen. I can't get there. And the friend's like, no, we're going to make this happen. And so they crawl onto the roof, hauling the dude up with them. Oh. Kind of figure out where Jesus is below them.
You do not crawl onto the roof at the punk house.
Oh, you crawl on this roof.
Yeah.
And they sawzalled their way through the roof, cut a hole in the roof, and then lowered him on like ropes on the things like on a mat or something.
And as they do, everybody in the crowd's like, whoa!
Yeah, exactly. No, I think everybody in the crowd's like,
Reggie!
My guess is everybody in the crowd was like, not your time, dude. Not your time. You gotta wait your turn.
Right, yeah.
But anyway, because usually Jesus makes a point about saying, hey, all you people, they made an effort. Don't be an asshole. But lowers him down, and Jesus basically was like, you got great faith. Be healed.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Wow. Well, you'll remember a little bit of this.
Okay.
So apparently there's a bunch of Pharisees who are like, who can forgive sins but God alone?
Do we need to cover Pharisees?
Oh,
yes.
Like ultra religious church people.
Pharisees and Sadducees were essentially like the different sects of the Jewish faith at that time. So like the Shiites and what is the other? I can't remember. Anyway, it's like how there's two different sects of Islam. It's the same sort of idea. There was the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and they had different interpretations of the law, most specifically. And so Pharisees were kind of the more assholey of the two groups.
I would like to take this time to apologize to our audience if we are getting any of these historical facts wrong.
This one I know.
Just what we were taught as children.
That's true. Yeah, I'm sure somebody who's actually Jewish will go like, that's not at all what this is about. But yeah, and so the Pharisees were frequently the ones who were clashing with Jesus.
Definitely did not like him.
They did not like, because he was basically saying like, you can get to God just by believing, and they were like, no, you got to follow 1,000,001 laws, and if you don't follow them exactly, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And so they are just kind of naysaying him and giving him a hard time, and he says, which is easier, to say to the paralytic, your sins are forgiven you, or to say,
stand up and walk.
Yeah, arise, take your bed and walk.
All right, arise, take your bed and walk. Yeah. Because that was essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
Which, like,
because it was on the Sabbath.
I do love
work.
Yeah, I do love these burns. Like, they're these like deep burns. Like, which is easier for me to say, like, your sins are forgiven, or take up your bed and walk, because they're the same thing. And like, was there some guy in the back going, oh,
yeah.
Any word of so does this guy like tap dance off of the stage afterwards, or did they lift him back up through the hole, which would also be equally epic but a little bit disappointing because you don't get to see him?
No, he definitely, the crowd parted, and because it says immediately he arose, took up the bed, and went out in the presence of them all. So I assume the crowd was like silent, like the mosh pit just stopped,
right,
and parted. Quiet.
Yep.
Instead of when you actually crowd surf to the front, and like a large man catches you and
throws you to
gently
the side.
Sets you down.
Any mention of fixing the roof?
No.
Nope.
Not at all.
Seems like a thing that Jesus could easily do, or ring, ring, give his father a call.
Oh.
Interesting. Yeah. Calling a fixer-upper.
Do we not know that this was just a propaganda story? Like, and this was actually an ad for Joseph's carpentry service, like, included in the Bible accidentally.
Today's house party brought to you by Joseph of Nazareth's carpentry service. I like that you asked if something in the Bible is just a propaganda story. Not even going to address that.
No, fair enough.
So the next one is healing a man with a withered hand on the Sabbath, and that's the whole thing. He healed a man with a withered hand on the Sabbath, which is hard to say.
Cool story.
But then because of that one, that's when the Pharisees just straight up start plotting how to destroy him.
Okay.
They're like, this guy.
He keeps fixing things.
Yeah.
On the Lord's Day.
Yeah.
Like, you were supposed to judge people silently.
I am a maker of very small gloves. I need withered hands.
This next one's fun. I don't think Adam's going to remember it, but basically he's just kind of out and about, and there's a funeral procession, and he goes and touches the coffin.
Oh, the guy comes back to life?
And yeah, he like Dracula's like, he says, young man, I say to you, arise.
And his wife's like, damn it, I needed that insurance money.
It's a mother. It's a child.
Whatever.
Child coffin. Small coffin.
Oh, that's
Ooh, rough, Adam.
well. I'll just see myself out.
And people were terrified and called him a great prophet. And, that story spreads.
Oh, is this our Halloween story? I think we might have just done our Halloween story.
Zombie? Oh, man.
We got
so
a few of
many
those.
zombies.
Okay.
I think we'll do Lazarus for Halloween.
Well, he's in this.
Oh, well, we're going to do Lazarus today.
So this is our Halloween episode.
Hey!
Spooky.
Halloween episode. Jesus' miracles.
So the next one is the less impressive wind and the waves calm down. This is when he's in the boat.
This
and
is
just calms the storm.
He's
sleeping.
This is the less cool of the two.
Exactly.
Got it.
He's sleeping in the front of the boat.
But he's like, and he just basically like winds up or wakes up grumpy. He's like, "Shut up!" And the waves and the thing just like stops and like going back to sleep.
He opens one eye and says, "Why are you fearful, O you of little faith?"
He's talking to the apostles, not
because they're freaking out that they're all going to die, and then he just goes back to sleep. All right, next one, pigs.
Okay,
probably my favorite.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. Like, I'm going to get a lot of. It's essentially they're walking in the country between places.
There's not a lot to get wrong.
Okay,
you're not going to mess this one up.
And they're walking, and this guy comes out of a cave.
Two
guys comes out. That's right. Two guys come out of a cave, and they're just like. The thing is, like,
tombs.
Oh, is it tombs? Oh, this is the Halloween episode. And they're so they come out of the tombs, and they're like just. The thing that's funny is like I believe it uses terminology like insulting and yelling, but they're saying really complimentary things.
This says exceedingly fierce.
Ooh. So they just could have been really fierce. But they're coming out of him and it's like, "You are the Son of God." Ah! Somehow that like equates to being aggressive.
Yeah, like what?
Well, we didn't have doxing then, so
right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So they were like 0 AD. Doxing Jesus, and he's like, "Out of him, you foul demons and spirits!" And the spirit or the demons that are possessing these two gentlemen get ripped out of them. And
no, the demons request it.
Oh, that's right. The demons are like, "Don't kill us."
Jesus hasn't said a single thing yet.
Wow, really?
The demons are like, and they're like, Jesus, why are you here? You can kill us.
Oh, don't put us into those pigs. And there's a whole herd of pigs. And so Jesus is like, "Do it." And so they go, whoo, like Scooby-Doo, I assume, like, through the air, into the pigs. Pigs commit suicide over the edge into the water.
Oh.
Of a cliff.
Yep. Like they Lemmings style, like over the cliff, which isn't true either, but there you go.
And then the pig watchers report what he did to the city.
Like, all of our pigs got murdered.
And the entire city came out to meet Jesus to beg him to leave.
Oh, wow.
Good story.
It's my favorite.
I mean, it's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
There was no mention of the cliff before.
I probably should have mentioned that they're on a cliff.
Right. I was just imagining the pigs like.
I think the pigs were
like.
The pigs were like in the distance.
Over.
And the demons were like, "Send us over there."
Well, I think now's a great time to take a moment.
Finally.
We'll be right back here on the King James Virgin. And we're back here on the King James Virgin.
Well, you guys, I think we're going to have to hold the saliva for next time.
Thank God. So gross.
Well, I mean, it's just going to be
not.
more saliva heavy next episode.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah, keeps them coming back. Listener retention.
Absolutely. Well, let's wrap this sucker up and send people on their way.
And before next week, I'm going to Google what that fetish is called.
Oh, God. Well, thank you so much for listening. This week's Resurrection featured artist is Tremors, so check them out at the end of this show. You can also follow us at KJV Pod on Twitter and Instagram to keep up with us each and every week. We post when we posted a new episode and all sorts of fun photos from the show. You can subscribe everywhere that podcasts are sold. Thanks to Mascaras and Resurrection Records for the use of our theme song, Kixari, off the album El Moran. You can find these songs and everything that Resurrection Records does on the show notes on our website, kingjamesvirgin.com.
That'll do it for us here on the King James Virgin. Until next week, may all your leprosy be healed.
Yeah. by Sonic Bazaar.